walked through day one what we would do teaching technique, day two what we would do teaching technique. And it's the least abstract thing I can describe as many of the abstract things I described today. It's quite literally a step-by-step guide. It almost puts myself out of a job as a teacher. But you can pick up this book with students and walk through these exercises, and it feels, like I said, it's a little bit like the thing that was there. We're hopefully finding a way to unlock just the seeing of it, that it was always there. Sometimes making these moments is feeling like becoming a kid again. Like, what did we used to do when we were playing in a sandbox? Oh yeah, you were the good guy, and I was like fighting the dragon, and this is like just letting our imaginations run wild. All bets are off. You know, there were no my role, your role, strict, you know, homogenized understandings of each other's abilities or rules. So yeah, I would say that I'm not going to walk you through it every step along the way, but I will say, to sort of answer some of the more abstract things I'm saying, we incorporate lights, sound, gesture, all of these other storytelling elements, and we start working with them individually, exploring all of their capabilities from day one, saving text until later, because we know that plays are normally constructed starting with a script. But what can we find about lights? What can we find about sound that has its own unique dialectical capability? And then trusting that when we put text in, that we'll only put as much text in as we needed. And I have about 5 more minutes. I didn't realize I would talk for so long. But I want to open it up to any questions that you guys have about the book, or about my work, or about the company in general.
In your experience, do you find all actors ready to embrace this fluidity? You know, because there are some actors that I know that just want to focus on acting. They don't want to get involved in anything else.
I do think those people are out there, but I oftentimes find that as soon as they feel the freedom to play, to explore, that it's contagious. It's really fun to play, to feel like you have more control than you thought you did. Even, you know, I worked with, recently I did a show at the Alliance Theater, and one of the roles was played by an Atlantic acting guy, a guy who came up through the Atlantic acting school, who, that's all he knew was that level of, you know, David Mamet, William H. Macy, practical aesthetics, like all that stuff. And it took him a long time to know how to play A, non-realistically, but B, like, have that kind of agency in a room. And I will say there was like a little bit of resistance to it immediately. And then all of a sudden one day it clicked, and it just felt like he'd become a kid again. So I think, you know, there are many different kinds of artists, but for the most part, I feel like people are excited to work this way. And I think that we don't have time to get into it today, but obviously our art form is wrestling with a lot of, like, what does that mean intellectual property-wise, and what does that mean when you're, you know, group devising, and Andrew Kircher has done a lot of work in this realm, and at the public about coming up with modes of working that acknowledge all of the contributions. So I feel like if the resistance doesn't come from there, it's rarely existent. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. I gotta go.
Okay.
Because I go to the theater every minute I can.
I love that. Thanks for
Yeah.
being a supporter of the work.
I have a question that sort of bounces off of hers, and it may not be something you've had to experience, but maybe with Spoon River it was something. When you only have a certain finite amount of time to work with someone, and you're trying to pass them that agency to make decisions, how, if you've ever had to do that, how have you brought that energy out of them quickly, if you had to? Or is it something that honestly it takes time?
It does take time. Yeah. I mean, there's certain, you know, doing will always be faster than talking, right? So oftentimes we'll give exercises. I'll like take 10 minutes, make a moment, and you know, it's only 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be perfect, but like, use these elements, explore and tell, you know, come up with a beginning, middle, and end, 1, 2, 3, go. And you'll see groups starting to talk about it. Oh, okay, what if can we use this piece of music, or if I make this metaphor, and they start talking after 8 minutes and having it played. And oftentimes I have to come by and poke them and say, stop talking. Actually, you're going to learn from doing. It's a dialectical process, but you won't ever really start learning until you start doing and listening to what you make. So there's ways to accelerate it, such as just like the 1, 2, 3, go. Just make stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, it takes time. And I was very lucky. I mean, that particular project with Spoon River, you know, there's no way to pay 100 people to be in the play, so I came up with a schedule that minimized their amount of time, but I paid the people that were developing the moment work with me, so we got to rehearse longer, and I made sure that we had the time to do that, and I was able to make it worth their while. So just knowing ahead of time, coming up with the time you think it might take, that's the only way to know, yeah.
How is the process of writing it when you're used to writing it all down and you're used to being on your feet teaching it or doing it or showing it?
How is the process of writing this book? Or
articulating what
hard.
it means.
Yeah, it took us 3 years to write the book.
Yeah.
And nothing we do at Tectonic is all that fast, but that took a little extra longer than we thought. Not just because, you know, what I didn't get into is like, we're a group of artists. Like, a lot of people think of Tectonic as what happens with Maize, our artistic director. But we're a group of, you know, the people who were authors of this book have all have careers of our own too. So we have changed the technique and used it to work in myriad of ways. So coming together to agree on what best practices are was a little tricky. It was illuminating. Oftentimes we don't get to be in the rehearsal room of other directors or creators or writers. So even just to get together and compare notes was amazing. But yeah, it took a lot of revision, a lot of groups sending the drafts around, a lot of Google Doc comments, and but it is like, you know, what is dancing about architecture. It's hard to write it when it's really on your feet kind of a process. Hopefully we did a good job. I think if you pick up, and we do a lot of examples of walking people through what a typical moment might look like, or how we interacted with students. We read tons of other instruction manuals and works that we felt jumped off the page and tried to emulate some of those successes. So we didn't try to reinvent the wheel, but hopefully it'll bring to mind, you know, the classroom experience as you're reading it.
When you're using the term structure, I'm curious if it feels as you're using it like it's standing in for a bunch of other terms at various points, like stage direction or scenic elements or things like that. I'm so curious, one, kind of what terms is structure standing in for, and how does it help you to think of those things as structure rather than some of the other traditional theatrical terms?
Well, it's not standing in for anything. I mean, if you think about performances being decoded, right? It's like it is a roadmap of what's happening. So it's quite literally the scaffolding without any interpretation of what we are seeing. So, you know, structuralists has existed as a mode in many different art forms. So we're just like stripping away anything we're layering on top of the encode, like the I don't know any way to describe it, because it is its word, structure of what is happening.
Yeah, I guess I mean, so the term structuralism has been used since probably French structuralism, I would think, in literary theory, which goes back to something like largely the 1960s and on, Levi-Strauss and all these people.
Yeah.
But even there, it's actually pretty ambiguous, and like there are a lot of people who call themselves structuralists in a literary context and are doing wildly different things. Some people are looking
I
at
see what you're saying. So,
narrative structures. Some people are looking at mythic structure, and what the structural unit is super ambiguous.
yeah, like we'll talk
so
about.
I'm just kind of curious how the term gets used for you.
Yeah, to your point, we do talk about structure in other ways, even when we're making work, such as narrative structure, right? We can come up with the structure of the storytelling of a play without the that is a separate kind of structure as the stage event itself.
Mhm.
So all I can do to clarify the kind of structure analysis I was just talking about is just to give more examples. So, you know, the fact that it's like, did anyone ever read Amelia Bedelia as a kid? Am I dating myself? It's like, remember with Amelia Bedelia, you had to be like, to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you have to, and it broke it down into the steps so that everything, there was no room for ambiguity, right? Analyzing the structure is like, it's like coming up with a musical score, or a dance score that can be agreed upon, looked at, and there be no room for ambiguity, but in a three-dimensional and four-dimensional, because it's time, medium. So, you know, video is a very good way to document structure. Wooster Group does that. We don't have cameras in our room, but that's a document of structure, so that we can just know exactly what happened with objects, bodies in space in relationship to each other. Is that?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Yeah, so just a thought, I know there are these kind of online, they call them master classes, you know, so I don't know, runner or so, teachers are doing this. And I looked at them, so it's interesting, but it's in a way very commercial, also not complex. But I think a project like yours, which you put in a way, one could say, a traditional book, I think it might be something for you guys to consider, you know, for class meetings, to come up with a structure that shows a rehearsal, because it is abstract, people are so afraid of. People say, I could do this, but it's really complicated, and you have to go to university. And actually, all your work is how you don't. So as a thought, you know, since you've already put in 3 years of work, most would be 3 months of work. Okay, put on what you already have, you know, and compose it in a way that as an addition, and then have the book also next for you, where you can leave it. But I think it could be also a very successful way, especially since you are sort of internationally well-known and connected. I know you're going to Beirut, I'm going next week, you're going to do a project there. So the students could see the rehearsal, see the interview, see the speech of the father, see this, I don't know if there's a recording.
That's great. No,
So I think it's something to really think about, because also theater, we have to push a little bit out of our corner into that world that's full of images. Like, this is something really, but I use it for language that kids and young people actually know. We produce books at the sea, nobody buys them. I mean, sometimes we get a TCG that you propose 3 books or something, you know. And Routledge, we also know the first 3 pages of their academic hat was all about acting and monologues and how to direct or something. So it's tough.
Yeah.
But your work, it's just as a suggestion.
We've tried, I mean, not we've tried, but we've talked a lot about that. And I tried to push it back when, even before we had the book and we were creating an online web portal whereby people could subscribe. It was before Masterclass, that's a good model. You know, and part of it always came back down to like, well, it's so theatrically based, it's so room in the room, like what these moments are don't necessarily always translate to video, so it always felt like a diminution. But I think now in tandem with the book,
Yes.
might do something different.
As a combination, and I think that would work. And also then, if you know, for university students, or you can say, you know, do this, but also get the book, and especially, you know, whatever, South Africa, or Jakarta, or Belgium, or south of France, whatever, it would be something, yeah, I like it. I saw that with those, and then they might do something completely different, with it you don't know, imagine.
Quickly, I want to talk, I'm working on, my next project is doing something kind of tangentially related to that, which is I'm interested in what happens when students have the tools to, okay, what I'm doing is I'm making a play about these Parkland kids in the wake of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and talking to a lot of young activists, and I'm really curious about this generation of young people and how they become, if they become activists, and what we're going to do, me and company member Barbara Pitts are making an online web portal so that all of the texts that we collect and other people can contribute are housed and triangulated and hashtagged together online, and that any community can make a devised theater piece, but they can also download texts for protest, they can make monologues, they can do anything with this text to mix, match, and moment work together to make their own live performance, and then re-upload that so that's shared by other people to really take advantage of the okay, what's the
Medium.
yeah, just of the watch, rinse, and repeat medium of sharing. And likewise, if they want to bring us out to help facilitate a process with hands-on moment work, we can, but they can also read the book or do that themselves.
In a way, like you get it by traditional play, and you still have to do it on your high school
Yeah,
or whatever, but and you say, hey, this is the material, but work as we do it.
yeah, and we looked at Robert Schenkins did with Building a Wall. He wrote a play and quickly uploaded it and said, any community can produce this before its world premiere. And as soon as a theater, community theater, university member would do it, he would fly out there and watch it and rewrite based on what he learned from the production, and then go back and rewrite it and say, now it's changed, anyone can do this new version. So it's slightly different, but he's increasing accessibility in order to bring people into a process of what it means to make a finished product, or many finished products in this respect, before going down the 3-year pipeline of a regional theater world premiere, which is just like workshop the hell out of something until it might live or die, and then maybe it's relevant or not by the time you get a premiere, and then it's locked, and then it trickles down through a rights mechanism, which is, I just think, such a bad model for most things that need to be responsive. Like he would say, I wanted to make this play, it's about Trump. And he said, I wanted to make this play, and it's Paul Revere time. I don't have time to wait 3 years, put this through a regional theater workshop machine. I love that. I'm like, it's Paul Revere time. It's Paul Revere time for all of us. Like, how do we get this work out there on the streets, especially when it has to do with an evaluation of and consideration of what is true. These stories that are having immediate resonance. I want to be as responsive and immediate as possible. Anyway, great idea, great question. We're kind of over time, but no, it's cutting me off. Does anyone have another question? I feel like I just spouted, vomited words for literally an hour. So, hope that made sense.
Do you have some with you?
Hmm?
Do you have some of the books with you? You selling them?
No, unfortunately we didn't. We got the word too late to our printer, so and we can't do it otherwise. But they're at the bookshop. They're
Yeah, it's easy. Amazon or whatever it's
Amazon,
called, I forgot.
online. It's a sweet little book. We crammed a lot into this little volume, so I hope it's of help. And there's some color pictures of our plays. Actually, I'll leave this around. If you have time, you can go through. Thank you for coming.